All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order of the Planning Commission. Please stand for the pledge and prayer.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gracious Father, we just thank you for this day, great day that you've given each and every one of us. Father, we thank you for every breath that we have. All comes from you. Father, I pray that you bless this evening. Help us to do things the right way, and would help our community, but most of all glorify you. I thank you again for your love, your mercy, and your grace. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, welcome everyone. Need a motion to approve the minutes of last month's meeting.
We don't know.
Oh,
John's out of the office.
John has,
So we don't know.
our attorney, John Mead, has been in and out of the hospital, so we'll have to approve the minutes for last month next month. All right. Are you gentlemen, no one else was on the agenda except for Wood, are you representing Woodhurst Farms?
Yeah.
Okay, come on forward here. Welcome.
Oh, yeah.
Rob, I have that up on the screen behind you.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard to see, but it's up there.
Good evening, I'm Dawson. I am representing Justin Bussebarger and his wife Lindsay Bussebarger. In 1997, this land here that's on the screen was surveyed and put into a subdivision. It was called Woodhurst Farms. Since that time, it has not been developed. There's one other individual that lives on Woodhurst Farms. Currently, her name is Angela Bush. The purpose of the getting on the calendar today and the agenda is to vacate that subdivision pursuant to Indiana Code. A form has been provided, and there's also a proposed certificate of approval the chairperson should have. As I said, the only person that lives there right now is Angela Bush. She has signed a notarized instrument indicating her consent to the proposed vacation, as well as Justin and Lindsay, who are now the other people that own property out there. And obviously Mr. Bussebarger's here if there are any questions about the land. I believe that the idea is that he will own the entire strip and just use it for himself for recreation purposes.
Approximately how many acres is this, just out of curiosity? It doesn't matter, but.
I believe it was about
147 acres.
Okay.
What's the significance of the blue? Is that a floodplain or what?
the blue is just the letters. It says Woodhurst Drive. Oh, and that line is a road. That's Blue River Road, I believe. Right?
Oh,
Yep, you're right.
I'm trying to, yeah.
So the whole subdivision, I don't think it's highlighted, but all these little red notations in there are all the parcels.
Oh, okay. Cool. many acres of woods? Do you know that?
I would say there's about maybe 12 acres of open and the rest is all wooded.
The rest is all wood?
Yeah.
No roads then have been put in or anything like that, no drives?
No.
It's basically the way it was when you bought it then, right?
Yes. Yep.
Well, you've got Woodhurst Drive,
There's no road there. That was a proposed road.
Oh.
Where they was going to build the subdivision. That's what they was going to call the road going back into all the lots. But they never built any roads or done anything to even try to, start the subdivision. Just sit there vacant.
oh, okay.
So when we vacate that, would we vacate Woodhurst Drive, and where's Angela's driveway at?
Hers comes off of North White River Road.
Oh,
It don't come off of that road at all.
Good job.
So do you want them to vacate that road?
Yes.
Okay, now, I'm not trying to be, I thought I heard Blue River Road a minute ago mentioned, and then I heard White River.
It's
It's
North
White-
White River Road is the road name.
There was White River Road, not Blue River.
Oh, yeah, White River, I'm sorry.
Okay, because I'm having trouble seeing all
Yeah.
of that from where I'm sitting, so. That would go back to being taxed as what, ag land then, or whatever?
Got it.
On those roads.
Yeah. Emily, if the plat of the subdivision, I assume if you pull the plat up, it will say Woodhurst. So we also have to dissolve the road also.
If that's what that document's telling us to do, yes.
Well, it doesn't say anything about the road. You may have to go back and tweak.
Does it say vacate the plat?
Yeah,
Yes,
does hereby.
so that would include the road.
I would read it that way. I mean, that's how I would read
I would
it.
think it would.
I think the road would be included myself,
All right.
but,
I don't think it would.
yeah,
Yep.
I would say so.
For-
If you don't plan on dividing this back out
No.
anytime soon?
No.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I got 24 tax papers on it the other day, so that's one of the reasons why I'm here.
Yeah.
Welcome. Now, when you do this, just if we approve it, you'll still get, it'll take like 2 years to hit your taxes. Okay.
Any other board members have any questions? This is pretty cut and dry, so we've done before.
Make a motion to dissolve as requested.
All right, Mr. Barrett made a motion that we dissolve the Woodhurst subdivision plat. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Hartman. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All right. There you go.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Your taxes just went down, or they will soon.
When that document, do we sign that as a planning commission?
No, just one signature.
And then Brock, you'll have it recorded?
I can have it recorded.
Okay, once it's recorded, then it'll hit
Yeah.
in the courthouse.
So there is a place on there for a witness to sign, I believe, which would typically be the attorney.
Yeah, you'll have to get John to sign it.
And then it just won't happen until it gets recorded. Okay. Just want to look, it might be a while. So don't check GIS like tomorrow. It won't work. Okay.
soon as we get the attorney to sign it, we'll,
Okay, you'll have them sign it? Okay.
yeah, we'll fire you a copy.
Okay, very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. And then put them dated.
Okay, next thing on the agenda is property splits, subdivision revisions. In looking at our original document that was updated in 2011, as far as property splits, and I'm going to rely on Emily and Travis heavily in this discussion because they deal with it on a day-to-day basis. But there was some question, there's a subdivision that was, well, I call it a subdivision. Some property out on Old Highway 56 that was brought to our attention that, as far as I can tell, and from what little information Travis has been able to get, they put a road in and they didn't follow the rules in any way, shape, or form. And this is what we want to talk about a little bit. You want to explain the situation, Travis, and then we'll get into what's legal according to our current ordinance in regards to defining a subdivision. The way we have it now, we have the definition of one subdivision. We don't have a major subdivision or a minor subdivision. That may or may not be something we want to amend in defining subdivisions. I don't know personally if that's necessary, maybe it is, but right now we have a subdivision, then we have an exemption, an exempt division, which is not real plain. It just simply states that the Planning Commission, County Commissioners have determined that certain types of subdivisions of land do not require a thorough review. Now, I would like to know what the circumstances of that would be, and they don't require any platting. So I suppose that could be related to the way we've done things in the past as far as dividing property. Say we have a farm and the man has family members, child, grandchild, siblings, parents, or grandparents, which we do allow if it's direct relation. They don't require a subdivision permit. So once again, Travis, I'll let you touch on this.
Well, that was what Todd just mentioned. That is, I guess, 80–90% of the situation out there. For the board to make a decision, the questions come up. How close are you going to look in, to the relation? If you're going to keep in adjoining property owners as not counting as a division. It's also come up now using the LLCs as the same person, but they're naming it something else, and it's all going down, and it's getting it, the property will be getting divided, and divisions are occurring, but they're not going down as actual number of divisions that would apply to an actual subdivision. So that's the questions that are coming up. So before, we just went on, their word on relation. So I don't know if the board wants to start exploring, that, that's kind of the situation.
How many lots are listed out there? Is there 5?
I believe so.
Okay, and is there 5 children or relations that are inheriting 5 different lots?
No.
Okay, so what I'm reading is from 15304, our definitions, from the exempt section of 4B. In order to prevent invasion of the subdivision control limits, a property owner shall be allowed to create only 1 lot for transfer to each child. So there being 5 lots out there, if there's not 5 children or relation, 5 individuals to receive the 5 lots, then to me they're subdividing a lot, and they would not be exempt under 4B, the way I read that.
Say if you're meeting that criteria, then they're deeding like, if I was one of the 5, so I would get like, say everybody got 10 acres, but I might get 50 acres, and then I would divide it again. So then you beat it again. You know what I'm saying? Like my family member divided it out so many times, and then I'm the property owner of this smaller piece, and then I'm gonna divide it out so many times. Or to get out of it.
But you as a new property owner would need to have it would need to go through the process of becoming a subdivision.
But as long as it's the family members or joint property owners, then, or yourself, then it doesn't count. Towards the numbered, once you hit, like, I could sell off a piece to Danielle and we're not related. That would be 1. And then I could sell off a piece to Deidre, we're not related, that would be a 2. And then if I go to sell off a piece to you, and we're not related, that's the 3rd split. That would qualify as a subdivision. You'd have to start this process. But I could sell off to anybody else. In the meantime. Does that make sense? I guess. You're just dividing land up until you get that 3rd numbered split. It's not a subdivision technically, by our policy. I don't know if I explained that. Right.
So it doesn't matter how many lots you create in your first split, is what?
Well, what they're doing is like, I own, we'll say 10 acres. I own 10 acres and I've had it surveyed off into 10 1-acre lots, just for the example.
Yeah.
When it comes in as a survey plat, it's not a subdivision plat. It's just a survey plat that I have 10 tracts of land. We don't divide that into 10 tracts. It's not a subdivision that hasn't been approved by the board. We don't automatically divide it. So it could sit like that for eternity and never be divided, just depending on whenever the owner decides to. So it doesn't get divided automatically. I might sell Todd and like give Todd an acre this year, and then 10 years from now I might finally get off another tract of an acre. So at the initial start, it doesn't start off as being divided into like 5 tracts. It'll just, as the sell-off comes off every once in a while. When we do a subdivision that gets approved by the board, as soon as it's approved and recorded, I divide it into all those lots automatically. It automatically would hit like 27 tracts like he just put back together. But if I'm just your average person having a survey done, it's just a survey, not a subdivision.
Correct.
We don't do that. We wait until you sell them off as they come in, over however many years it takes.
But the issue, this is a little bit different issue because we don't know if, well, I can tell you none of these people are related. There could be one, but we don't know that. So is the burden of proof on whether it's relation, isn't that on the landowner who wants to split it?
I mean, yeah. I'm gonna be able to, like, I just have to, like, you come in, you tell me you're a family member, how am I supposed to say you're not? I mean, kind of the honor system. There is a place on this, I have looked, there is a spot on the sales disclosure. Like, if a sales disclosure is done, there's a spot on there. That if you're if you're adjoining property owner, there's like a yes or no box, so we'll know if you're a neighbor. And on like the second page or the third page, it'll ask if you got a discount as a family member. But that doesn't say are you a family member, it's just if you got a discount. So you could always put you didn't get a discount and we wouldn't know. You could say yes, I got a discount. It's just kind of a wonky way to go about it.
Well, right now, in this particular case, everything we're talking about is based on hearsay because we don't know that the person who basically, to me, it's a subdivision because there was an original road into the property. And then if you go about 200 feet into the old original road, they put a new road in parallel to Old 56, and they have lots split, 3 lots split off, and there are multiple realtor signs on these lots. It's a subdivision. Would you say it's a subdivision?
I don't see how it's not. I don't see how this is a loophole at all. I mean, there's no difference in this and anyone going to buy 30 acres and just put up 10 realtor signs and call them 3 acre tracts. Those are subdivisions.
So on the plat, whenever the survey comes in, I'm not disagreeing, I'm just saying as it comes in, it doesn't fall in criteria like that. And that's where the county, we have to follow what was written down. So there was one split off that went to a person, that was number 1. Then another guy bought the 3 lots that Todd's talking about, but he bought them as one piece of property, not 3 lots. He got one chunk. That's number 2. And then he is a new property owner, like you said, so he gets to restart. And he will sell off 1, 2. He'll still own number 3, so it does not count. So, you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Okay, so it's not a subdivision. Every rule was followed that's written down.
So it's the verb subdivision, but it's not the noun
Yes.
subdivision.
It's a what?
It's the verb subdivision.
He subdivided.
He subdivided it, he did that, but it is not the noun.
Yeah.
It is not a subdivision.
So I'm just saying, as it's written down in my office, we followed it as it's written in the ordinance, and it didn't meet the criteria to call Travis. I say we got a subdivision.
Where's that in the?
I understand what you're saying. I still don't totally, when you read the from 15304, the definition of a subdivision, a division of a parcel of land into 2 or more lots is a subdivision, and needs to go through the process. I don't know what's.
We'll go on down to exempt division.
Yep.
Number 2, that's when the waters get a little muddy.
Yeah. Sure. And then that's where I was reading from the exempt division 4B.
Into the subdivision.
That was on
I think he has a different picture.
relation.
If you look at 4C, it says division of land for the purpose of a single family which does not involve any new public road, public drainage, easement, or other new public improvement, which creates a new lot and the remaining tract. See, I don't see how it cannot be a subdivision. And to me, the kicker is the road. They built a new road.
But if you look on the survey and you follow the verbiage on the deeds, it's not a road, it's an easement to get into those properties. So it's not a road, it's just access to go in. It's not.
I'm not gonna argue that, what it's,
But I'm just saying when it comes, like, that's where it
yeah,
comes in.
on your end, but on our end, as far as the plan commission, it's a subdivision. Travis, do you think it's a subdivision? Why is it? Why is this any different than that fellow that come over here on, from Man Road, bought a farm? Bought a farm and put his own road in and didn't tell us like these, well, why is that any different? He's got it divided according to the surveyor's office. Why is that any different than this?
Say that again, he didn't tell us about the,
No, let's say he didn't notify.
oh, say he did.
Just like this person did. Why is that any different? I don't understand the difference.
Well,
So it is an exempt? If it's not exempt, and if it's not a subdivision, then what is it?
well, I'm going off just what's roads in our subdivision rules, okay? I'm just, you know, that's the first thing I was talking about. Now, what Emily's looking at,
I don't know, let me run my, I'll be right back, let me run my office so I can get some documents.
Is that it?
is
I can't use this now, on my office.
you have a driveway that went up to a owner of one of these parcels, and they're using the same driveway entrance. Went up 50 feet and then went off right off of this driveway, and now they're making other driveway entrances to these other 2 or 3 parcels, which under the exempt definition, they are able to do that. So, you know, I don't know if you want to take off on, you know, on the saying, you know, it's a subdivision because our opinion is, the board's opinion is a road, and forget the definitions of how many divisions it's happened. I mean, that's 2 different things. I was just talking, what I was first talking about was just the divisions. I wasn't even figuring in or, you know, putting that in the thought process of this road and this driveway. Because we didn't get an okay for a driveway, any other, nothing. I mean, it came to me, I don't think Emily did or anybody else that I know of. It's just an existing driveway entrance. So, and then the siblings and the adjoining property owners, and I think there was an LLC involved with one of the individuals, and we were adding up and, you know, what actually was a division. And Emily and her office was coming up with 1, I think 2 maybe, but it didn't qualify as a subdivision. So, I mean, that's just where we're at with it.
153.04 definitions. Division of a parcel of land into 2 or more lots, parcel sites, units, plats, or interest for the purpose of offer, sale, lease, or development, either an installment plan or any other plan's terms and conditions, including the subdivision. Subdivision includes the division. Sounds to me like it's a subdivision.
It's the first 153.04, the definition of a subdivision.
Right, but we have never done that. I mean,
So
well,
in other words, we've not followed our own rules, is that what you're saying?
It's as plain, it's black and white. The division of a parcel of land into 2 or more lots, parcels, sites, units, plats, or interest for the purpose of offer, sale, lease, or development, either on the installment plan or any other plans, terms and conditions, including re-subdivision. It's as plain as day. That's a subdivision. It just defined it. That's what they did. Now, I would like for somebody to tell me what's wrong about that paragraph. I don't understand. They have lots for sale. They got a road going in, just happened to be there for a long time, and they built a new road, an offshoot, so they could get to these lots that they have for sale, for the purpose of offer for sale.
well,
Is that it right there?
yeah, that's it.
Well, that's it, it's not, this computer's not completely up to date, but that's the start of it.
If you look at that house, it's basically right in the middle.
Yeah.
That's the driveway, and look at it going north.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just the driveway to that home. Go in off of, that's Old 56, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go in off Old 56 about, like I said, about 50 feet, 100 feet, whatever, to about the middle of that clearing before the woods start. It shoots off right, going to the east. Then you've got 2 or 3 parcels right there, and you've got another one there to the left.
Do you have a copy of that map you gave me?
I have to have that.
And this was a private survey.
Yeah, let me just walk around, I'll show you. But I have that if it goes around.
Can I make a copy of it?
Yeah, but I have to make a copy of it. You go to this drawing, this is my research only. This purple piece is that top one above the driveway. See where the driveway is? The driveway right now could be all of these pieces at the bottom. This purple one is those 2 buildings at the top. This history, even though it's not important. They got this piece when they were married. They got divorced. She got this piece. And then this piece. So then we divided in this survey, not in my office until it came through, into these tracts. But when this gets recorded, is this a survey or is this just a plat of a subdivision?
The only reason it's not applied to subdivision is because they didn't submit plans for a subdivision. That's pretty easy. I can do that all day long.
But once it's recorded, I don't see it until afterwards. It's recorded first.
Is part of the issue, as a bigger picture, not just specifically this,
They're all over the, they're all over.
Yeah, I got it right.
is part of the issue,
Yeah, okay.
I'm a strong factor. Because if I had 100 acres and I sell 2 acres, and then 10 years later, or 5 years later,
Technically, it's subdivision.
but because this time has lapsed. So
But like if this was, I guess my question is in my office, and I can be wrong, and that's okay. My question is, this gets recorded and then we put it in my office. How do I know that these aren't going to all family members? If it's family member, say it on here. It doesn't say, like, we don't have a title to that. It doesn't say that it's non-family members. I don't know that until the deed's coming. So when this first gets reported, I don't know to flag it. Because it could all be family members, I don't know.
Because exempt subdivisions are not subject to the requirements of this subchapter beyond the determination by the plan director or staff that have met requirements. So they should go to him, whoever the plan director is, and the plan director tells you it's exempt. Is what that says to me.
Yeah.
That,
But on this, it also says that the easement is not approved.
well,
That's another thing.
then that's up to the plan director to, or staff, to determine if that truly is an easement or if it truly is a road. That's up to him, or whoever serves in that position. And then if that doesn't, then they come to us and ask for, or come to the Board of Zoning Appeals and ask for variances or whatever the process is. I have enough on that.
Or simply, the plan director decides that this is not an exempt subdivision, they just, it doesn't mean they can't do it, they just need to bring their plan to us. And I don't know that it's wouldn't be a nice subdivision, it just, you can't skip the steps. Not to mention that they're selling these lots, but they're paying taxes on one lot. And they're just, that's
No question, since they've got these 3 lots up for sale, they're just up for sale. I mean, we went over today and
One's already been sold.
a real estate agent, and we want to buy a lot.
You could go back.
We're not family or anybody. Yeah, 50/50.
So this easement, new road, are they required to have a property owner association that's gonna take care of this road? I mean, they never, that's what I don't understand, they never came to us. But to me, we need to protect these future homeowners, and that's what the rules of a subdivision are there for. I don't see any other way than the developer just bypassing the plan commission.
Danielle, we were having multiple conversations. Would you repeat what you just said about plan director should have been contacted, where they do have the option of maybe being exempt, but first and foremost, they should have contacted him and he makes the call.
Right. 153.04. It says exempt subdivisions are not subject to the requirements of this subchapter beyond the determination by the plan director or staff that they meet requirements for exempt subdivisions set forth herein. So if Travis or whoever the plan director determines that reviews subdivisions says that it's exempt, then it would be exempt. But if it doesn't, if it meets one of those criteria, then and it's exempt, he says you're good to go, you're exempt. If it doesn't meet, and he says, no, you're not exempt, then they need to move forward as though they are creating a flag subdivision, in my opinion, based upon what is in writing on number 3. Now, did they go to him and ask him? Probably not. So I guess that's part of the enforcement is that they did it incorrectly. So how do we get it correct now that they've been selling and doing those things? I haven't read far enough to know if there's penalty or what.
Well, I think Andrew made a good point. These rules for subdivisions are there for the protection of the landowners. You know, who's to say when these properties change hands, relative or not relative, who's gonna take care of the road? I can tell you who's gonna take care of it. They're gonna expect the county to, because they're gonna be some disgruntled people in a few years that's gonna show up at a commissioner's meeting and wonder why they can't get a load of stone on their road. Well, they had no restrictive covenants, they had no homeowners association. There's nothing that we can do about it, period. So I guess the only way to resolve this is to contact the landowner and find out what their intentions are and inform them that they don't necessarily want to fine the people, but they need to understand that what they did is not going to work. I dare say there'd be any other county in the state of Indiana would allow this.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Emily, jump in here. But it could have been also, I think this is a very good possibility of what's going on out here, that, you know, it wasn't where everything came in 1 week with 5 sales. It could have been over time, maybe a shorter period of time, one sale happened that's supposedly a relation, and then a random phone call came into my office. Hey, could you explain, which has happened a bunch of times, could you explain the definitions back here? How many sales, how many divisions can we have on this piece of property? Just a random person calling, and it could have been this person saying, how many, can you explain this to us? And if we sell this to so-and-so relation of whatever that fits in that definition, is it going to be a division? And no, it's not. So maybe they made one sale, and then it just sat for a while.
If they're relation.
If they're relation.
So that's probably the kicker that we need to consider here, is them proving that they are relation.
That was the discussion the board, I was hoping would have.
How in the world are you gonna do that? We had this discussion down in her office a week ago about this, and Dana said, is it my job here in this office to look up somebody's genealogy to prove this?
It's their responsibility to bring it into us.
Birth certificate or something? Birth certificate or?
That's fine. I don't care what it is. But, you know, I could go in and say, well, I'm related to Danielle. And then pass this whole thing off. To me, the burden of proof is on them if we say they need to do that.
Who told anyone in this whole ordeal that someone was related to anybody out there? Because I have a hard time believing that. Why would somebody sell a lot off or give a lot to someone related to them and then go down this new road they put in, and all of a sudden, if they had intentions of selling it to a relative, all of a sudden there's 2 or 3 different realtor signs out there for sale. Now, I don't think those people are related. She's selling it for...
I'm not going to argue that, but I'm saying when you're in an office working, and in 1 year, a plat gets recorded, and then 6 months to a year later, I sell off part of my property, which you can do, sell it off one time, and you still own the rest. That's one sell-off, and I still own the rest. I didn't break any rules. I sold off the house, and I kept the ground. Everyone's in agreement.
Yep.
That's one sell-off.
But there's 3 other lots out there.
And
that's for sale.
then the next deed that came through, even though the plat says that it's 3 lots, that's not how it was worded. It doesn't say lots 1, 2, and 3. It puts them as one piece of property. That would be the second sell-off. Which technically, we just said you can do 2 of them. That's not breaking any rules. Then the new owner is selling off his piece of the second sell-off 2 times.
So after the second one, that's it. Can't have a third one?
If you sell it off a third time,
If it's not, if it doesn't fit into that number 2. I mean, you can, I just showed Kevin this, and we'll pull it up here on the forehead if you want. Just picture this. I mean, we're only talking 5 parcels of property. What if you had, you know, the guy had 3 or 4 kids, and then, you know, he gave 1 parcel to 5 kids. Okay, those are 5 divisions right there.
but that's okay.
Yeah, and then they wanted to sell off 2 parcels each of this property. Well, you're talking 5 divisions times 2 on each. And then you look at it on the map, oh my gosh, what's going on? Look at the subdivision. But they followed the rules.
That's all.
Totally.
Because it's the verb and not the noun.
So whenever when you're sitting in here, I'm agreeing with everything you all are saying, but when you're in the office and you're following as it's worded, it doesn't fit that.
And what we're looking
So
at.
what do we need?
Because when I'm looking at that survey plat, it looks like I'm going to divide my property up 5 ways, eventually, or I might not ever, but right now, when I paid for that survey, that's what I thought I wanted.
How
And
do you-
most people would like to have a driveway, and on their deed, it's an easement to get back in there. It doesn't say it's a road, it doesn't say it's a public road, it says the easement to get in and out. And almost every property in Washington County doesn't even have an easement. So if I were to look at that survey plat, as soon as it was recorded and I put it in my system, I'm like, oh, well, look, they actually put in an easement for these people to get in and out.
So if I purchased one of those 3 tracts, let's say I purchased number 1 and I have to use that easement. When I purchase tract number 1, there would be something on my deed on there that says that I have an easement, this is not taken care of by the county commissioners.
It doesn't say it's not taken care of,
But it says on there,
An easement.
this is an easement, this is not a road, this is not something that anybody is going to take care of.
Gives you access to the property.
Okay.
So I'm not arguing. I don't even think I'm arguing when I think that you are wrong. I don't think you're wrong.
I understand.
But I don't think that, I guess where I'm standing, I don't know if Travis is agreeing with me and he might not, and that's okay. Because I don't care if anyone agrees with me or not. But when the plat gets recorded, or the survey gets recorded, those are 2 different words. A plat is a subdivision and a survey is just a survey. Do whatever you want to with it. Is that when we need to flag it? It gets recorded, I see it, and I'm like, oh, this has 5 tracks on here, I need to call Travis. Or do I wait until the land gets sold off here? Like,
When
when does that kick in?
I guess I have a question about when somebody would send you a survey that had something like this, that had 1 piece of property, but then they put it into 3 tracts or 4 tracts or however many. What would be some reasons that they would do that other than they're thinking about selling it in the future?
Well, we're in Washington County, it's because a farmer wants to, or a grandparent or whoever, in their mind, they're thinking ahead, that this is how they want their property eventually split off, and they die, or
subdividing.
and they have the money right now, and they're gonna pay to have the survey and stake off that way. But I don't ask the people at the time that the survey, like, they don't bring it to me first. It gets recorded, they pay the fee to record it of $25, and then a week later, I get it. So I don't talk. If you were to have it done, you wouldn't bring it to me first and be like, here, what do you think of this? I've already paid the surveyor to do it. That's how I got my copy, and it gets recorded. And then I would see it later. So do we stop them before it gets recorded? Because you can record anything. They can't deny you to record anything. You could record it anyway. But do we tell them then? Or do we
It would
just
save,
change?
it might save a lot of grief. You don't, just ask them, is this are you
So the
Are
recorded
you
lots
selling
is
lots
that
first, are you selling lots of subdividing and gonna sell them? To me, it's all about, it's not so much someone deeding off a piece of property to 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 children or grandchildren. It's someone selling lots for profit, for gain, which is what this person is doing. Otherwise, there wouldn't be 2 or 3 realtors' signs out there for sale.
Well, but
Go ahead.
the issue is regardless of whether it is a family member, right? Because, I mean, our farm, there was 3 sections that was divided off to my in-laws that then sold them.
And they're not family anymore?
And none of that is family anymore. So they're.
Here's what I don't like, and I'll just flat out tell it to y'all, because I see it every day. I don't think there should be a loophole. I don't think that I should get to deed it to my kid first, so then they can deed it to Andrew, because I didn't relate to the subdivision. I don't think it should matter if you're family. If that's where we're at, it shouldn't matter if you're family or not. How many times did you divide it? More than 2? It's a subdivision, you need to go. I mean, it shouldn't matter. I don't want to be that way, but if that's where we're at, then that's where we're at. Because they know how to get around it.
Yeah, because Emily's office is, just like she said, I do agree with you.
But thanks, you didn't have to, but thank you.
No, but, before Emily was, in the office, surveyor, and I worked with the other surveyors, and then she has the same, we're going by the same rules, nothing's changed, but, what she's saying, what you guys are wanting to do, as soon as it goes down as a NA non-exempt parcel, you would have to flag it.
Fine.
Right there, it'd have to stop. I don't think that's right. And we've had it. And just a little brief history, before, anybody was on the board here, this same discussion happened before. I'll just tell you what the other board members. Because, I don't think, and personally, off the record, I don't think that's fair. I mean, you would have to, just as soon as you get it exempt, because it's a family member, you're going to have to flag it and stop it. Because you're going to get into these, it's gotten flagged and stopped. Now I can't, time passes by and you're wanting to sell this property, or, you've got a person that wants to just buy part of it, just for whatever reason. He can't sell it or come up with, what I'm saying.
You could go before BZA, can you not?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Well, no, I'm saying if you want to stop what's going on, you would have to just, all of them, what Emily's saying. And I'm saying that's not right.
I don't think it should fall on anybody in the courthouse to say that you are or are not a family member. I don't think that I get to look at you and say, you're not related to them. Or, well, you're just a step. Or you're adopted. Or they took you in as your own and you called them your family, but you're not. Who is anybody in our courthouse to say that to anybody? Do you want to hear that from somebody? Because I don't. I don't. And I don't think that my office and my girls that work for me, that's not part of their job. They do DNA history for ancestry, not.
For the BZA making a decision on what relation you are, or, that's the only way it could be. We've said said the same thing, you would have to flag it just right at the exempt, just to stop this from extra 2 divisions, of this same thing happening. There's no other way around it.
I agree.
Or you leave it as it is.
Yeah.
I agree
Or
with
we
that.
just make it more clear.
But the trigger should be when someone puts a new road in and sells lots off of the new road, here's what's going to happen in 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Somebody,
But if all those, say that was you, I'm just throwing this out there, say it was you and you did that and you set it up as 3 lots and you put it in on a survey as an easement. And it was one for your mom and one for
I'm not talking about, forget
But if they were
that.
but we don't know that when it gets recorded, that's all to be sold off that way. What if you were setting it up, that this is how you wanted it to look, so each family member could have an easement, what the survey says is an easement, to go into those properties? If it was family members, and it got recorded that way, which I don't know their family members right off, but if that was your intention,
That has nothing to do.
is that different? Because when you look at it, I don't see it as a road.
You would?
I don't see it as a road. My driveway is not a road.
Yeah, where does it say, I'm just talking, I'm not arguing, what you think. Yeah, I would agree, yeah, it does look like a road, these divisions coming off driveways or whatever. But if we're following what we have, what qualifies that as a road? Right now, just as is.
Where's the mail going?
Well, no one's living out there, so I don't know.
No, right now, why is that a road? We're saying it's a road, why is that a road?
It's up to the highway superintendent and you to decide.
It's not up to me to decide, it's up to the highway department.
Well, it should have been up to you had they come to you and you made the determination whether it was exempt, but they didn't come to you, so you didn't know, you just found out.
But how many people in Washington County have shared driveways? Are those roads?
Well,
I'm not playing devil's advocate, I'm just saying, when a survey says an easement, it doesn't say Walker Road or Wilson Road, it says it's an easement.
Right.
So a subdivision, you don't call those easements, you're calling them roads. You want them to be kept up nice, you want them to be paved, you want them to be,
I'm thinking of public safety, I'm thinking of an ambulance, I'm thinking of the mailman, I'm thinking of the school bus driver.
okay, but think Shorts Corner Road. I'm not gonna name these people that live there, but there's a driveway. Right as soon as you turn off, I live a mile off, whatever we'll call it, a half mile to the left. That house is at the end, and there's 3 houses down that road, and it's a gravel driveway. You're saying that's a road.
That's grandfather.
But if it were to be set up today, you guys are telling me that that's a roadway,
Yeah, it's a
and
road.
it needs to be brought, Rick Boyle needs to come and see it. It's not a shit, just 3 houses live on that road. It was divided off 2 times, and everybody's sharing a driveway. I don't know that in my office.
Yeah, I know you don't.
So
We can't.
that survey, when you look at it,
Is the driveway entrance going to
Yes, it
somebody's
is.
house that, yeah.
and they're granting every, that might buy, because we don't know. Maybe I'm gonna buy the last 2 lots, and then it's just a big piece of property, and we share a driveway with an easement. I don't know that. And I bet when you pull up their addresses when they build a house, and I don't know, but I don't bet they're gonna name that easement a name. I bet their mailboxes are gonna be on Old 56. And that's gonna be their address. I just have a feeling.
You've got this same situation, just like this. I mean, I could go up this map and pull probably 3 or 4 of them up. Like right there, that driveway will go back in there, and then same situation, and then it'll come off just like it is now, with not one entrance except the existing one. And all their addresses will be Old 56
And there'll be mailboxes at the end.
at the end. And it'll say, we're not arguing,
I'm not.
we're not arguing this. We're just going by what we have in our ordinance and what we have to go by.
And we can change it, and we'll
Yeah,
follow
you
something.
guys can, yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, Emily, you touched on this. If that whole 4B section were to be gone, no, there was no exemption for any type of relation. Obviously, that would make it a little bit more challenging to, in our example, to divide up a farm for inheritance purposes. But the challenge would just be coming to the planning commission and going through the process. Is that you still have a survey done, and then you go through the steps.
Well, let me back up. You don't have to have a survey done to divide property. So it's still hard. You don't, as long as you have a surveyable legal description, you don't have to have a survey done. That would be nice if you had to have a survey done to divide property. If that was a rule in Washington County, that'd be nice, but it's not. But if you had to have a survey to divide your property, that would help. Because then at least we know, what you're, like, we could see by that survey that there was gonna be 5 tracts. But if I wanted to just have 5, I'm gonna sell off 12 acres here, and then no survey, guess where your property line is. And then another one comes a little later, and there's no survey done, and here's a legal one, guess where your property line is.
That would make your job easier.
Oh, definitely. I think that would make everybody's job easier. If you have pins out there, you know where your property is. Builders can have a better time building. You gotta know where how far off your property line you are to put buildings and your porches and your houses, and you don't have to guess and build on your neighbor and then go to court.
So as long as not necessarily needing a survey to divide the property, but survey if it changes hands.
I mean, I'm not saying that's what you should do. I'm just saying it would make life a lot easier.
So I have a question. So my grandpa passed away, he had 5 grandchildren, me and 4 others. And all 5 of us received part of that property as part of our inheritance from him. We did not buy it.
No.
He did not subdivide it with the intent for us to purchase it from him. It was upon his death, we were given that. Is that different than what we're talking about right now? It was deeded to me upon his death. That's different than,
A 20% interest of fifth.
Is it being divided, or are you sharing it as owners? You're like,
no, he gives, there's 50 acres, he gives each of us, there's 5 of us, he gives each of us 10 acres of that 50 acres.
no divisions, if you're all related, then it would just be, it would not count for a subdivision. It would be NAs, what we call NAs.
Because that's what I'm like here, it's the subdivision is the division of a parcel of land into 2 or more lots, parcels, sites, units, plats, or interests for the purpose of offer, I don't know what that means, sale, lease, or development.
Now, to your point, in the exempt one, if you go to section B, you have grandchildren, it says, and each of you get 1 lot, that is exempt. Now, that's fine, in my opinion. Now, where it gets hairy is now Danielle has 10 acres, and now she wants to sell 3 lots on that 10 acres, and her 4 cousins want to do that. So now have 15 lots going up on that, and it never goes through the process of a subdivision, and that's not right.
So if I would take my 10 acres and divide it into 2 5-acre lots, and I'm not giving it to my children, grandchildren, siblings, or parents or grandparents, then it becomes a subdivision.
Because you own 10 acres and you sold off 5 acres.
No, I'm selling 2 5-acre lots.
But that's not how it's recorded. Like, we'll say like, document A gets recorded, you sold 5 acres. You might have done it the same day. You sold me 5 acres and you sold Travis 5 acres. When it gets recorded, they have recording numbers, so we have to go in order. So for a split 5 seconds, Danielle has sold me 5, but she owns 5. So that second one is not a split. You just gave your remaining parcel to Travis, so that was only one sell-off. Does that make sense? So that's a sell-off. You still own property. Like, you could sell it twice, but you own 3 parcels, but you only sold off 2 pieces because you have a remaining piece, a parent parcel always hanging out.
There's only 2 new numbers for you.
2 new numbers, we call them parent and children. I own the parent parcel, and I'm going to deed off a little bit. That's a child number. It became like 1.01. That was the first sell-off. And I still own 1.0. And then I sell off the second one. That would be 1.02. But I still own what's left. It just keeps getting smaller of 1.0. So for 5 seconds, you didn't do a split off. You just sold your whole parcel to Travis.
Well, with this land going up through a couple of different realtors or whatever, these 3 lots, so has the health department already weighed in to say these lots are all perked and ready to go? And can you do that? Can you sell off something like a lot? And
in my office, I don't need to ask if you've got any of that done.
Because that's only going to apply if you
Build.
are building on it.
I'm gonna buy this piece of property and hunt on it.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy it just to sell it. We don't get like it. I don't want to distribute. I don't know. That might sound hateful, but I don't mean to be that way. I don't care if you have a house on it, I don't care if you got cows on it. We just, in the surveyor's office, it's legal descriptions. What's the land look like? How's it fit in there? It's more than that, but when it comes to dividing it, it doesn't.
It was, I'll just throw this out real quick. Back when we were in subcommittees, starting on the subdivision ordinance, it was mentioned that, like in this case here, if you had the driveway and you were coming in and you were creating whatever, these 5 parcels, when you had 3 separate parcels created or 3 separate addresses, it was automatically would go into a road and a subdivision. No matter if it was relation, whatever, if that happened, like Todd was mentioning, it automatically becomes a road. It automatically becomes a subdivision.
Where's that written in?
It wasn't. It was not passed. Then it went into the relation.
So if there was wording that said that if a drive, a roadway gives access to more than 2 residences, then it would be classified as a roadway and fall under the criteria that we have in the ordinance for a road. So if I had, I mean, just hypothetically, so if I had my house and my driveway and sold off or gave off a section of property, that driveway then became the access point to that second property. Then it remains a driveway to 2, but then the point where a third residence goes back there, then it falls under different criteria, and it has to be brought up to the specs that we have.
Well, it was supposed to fall into a subdivision, which then the roads were going to be whatever we decided on. So, yeah.
When I bought that first parcel, I had the 2 of us that purchased that first parcel and didn't know that that third parcel was going to be sold and all of that. Then now I would have the expectation that I'm going to pay part of the fee for bringing that up to.
It would, I don't know, but.
But the issue, if we set aside everything about, is a person a family member, right?
Or a neighbor, or yourself. Those count too.
Adjoining property owners.
Adjoining property owner, or yourself.
Okay.
Those also count as inmates, not just your family members.
But what is the purpose of, like, what is the concern, what is the purpose of having an ordinance about subdivisions, right? It is land usage, it is concentration of homes within a particular area of land, right? It is access into those homes. I think we need to revisit the purpose of having the planning commission, of everything that we're doing. I mean, we're talking about at what point does the concentration of residences, of structures on any set piece of property meet a different criteria?
And I'm not saying we need more categories in Washington County. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I look at you.
That's what you're getting
Because
at.
I deal with you every day.
Are you talking about that?
A little bit. No, not really, but and I could be wrong, but following criteria, they didn't. I'm not saying that shouldn't be a subdivision, but I don't think it should be same as Woodhurst Farm that we just did. It's not the same. Those are itty bitty lots. These people are over 2 acres. One of them's 12 acres. I think that there should be different categories. Like, they divided up 104, how much was it, 140 something, and this was like 20. Like, I don't think that's the same. They developed 30 something lots, and they have 5 tracks. I don't know if that, they're not putting in a roadway necessarily, although it ends up being a road, but that's not, I don't know if that makes sense to me, but I don't think they're the same type, or same category, or same, the land is getting divided, but I think like, that would be like, I don't know what this means, but I think that's like a major subdivision, that's a lot of lots, that's a lot of septic tanks, that's a lot of work.
But you're also looking at time.
And I think that 5 is smaller and bigger. Like, I don't think those should, I don't know if that makes sense. I think that other counties have different categories of subdivisions. They're like minor, major, exempt. We just have subdivisions and exempt, that's it. And I think maybe, I haven't read into it because it doesn't qualify for me, so I don't read in other people's ordinances, but that might be where, and I told Todd the same thing, that might be where those categories come. I don't know. But it might. They have minor subdivisions and they have major subdivisions. I assume major subdivisions, I don't know, but I bet those would be 2 different ones right there.
So which counties have those that surround?
Harrison County's written up that way. I haven't read about minor and major because we don't have those. But like Jackson County has different types of subdivisions. Harrison County does, it's in the ordinance we have right here in front of us. I'm not saying that, but if we want to do that, I think that there's different.
When these exemptions were created, I'm just throwing this out there, it was just, time has went by, we had a totally different board, and there was a lot of people out here in the audience, and there was a lot of pushback to get the siblings, the relation, all this exempt. And that's why it was passed. There was a lot of pushback from the crowd, people, questions. And then the board members that were here, that's how this happened. So the board decided that's what the public wants, that's what we're going to do. So here we are.
May I ask, is that easement the only way to get to those, they could build individual driveways?
I'm sorry, my brain just like, coming off Old 56, not getting a permit for those driveways and put them 50 feet apart if they wanted to. Yeah, I mean, like, they could. I mean, I don't know that, but they could. They should use that comes in. Todd says it's already put in. It's physically there.
Yeah, they could have, but, nobody really wants that because it's kind of dangerous. I mean, they'd be pretty close, but probably could have.
Because that's what I was wondering, is that, our problem is that it has this easement that we think is a road. If it didn't have that easement, they were just pulling out onto a road from there.
If they just put gravel down and was in the easement when we were talking about it,
That's what I'm asking.
I don't think we would, myself. I'm not saying we wouldn't, I just think that if I dumped 17 tons of gravel at my house 2 years ago and nobody came and asked me about it.
Like a perfect Indiana land kind of thing.
To me, it looks like a responsible way to divide property. That's what it looks like to me. And if I was buying in that, I had these
But
issues.
you think it's a responsible way, it may be a responsible way, one driveway, but there again, come back to what Todd was mentioning, I started thinking about Dick, we're talking about safety, getting fire truck and ambulance back through some of those. It's the exact same thing as what we run into with Indiana land, they don't take care of the road. No, you're gonna have the same thing there.
I mean, it's not very long, it's not gonna take a lot of money to keep it up, but eventually, I mean, it's gonna need some rock every year, so.
Eventually, it'll probably change hands.
And it'll change hands, you can bet that.
So what's down the Anti? So do the Amish do this type of thing?
They're from pretty much one driveway in, one driveway out, I don't know.
Okay. You just ask.
All right, so what would you suggest we do? We just kind of just let this go and think about what Emily said about major and minor subdivisions. I still think it's a subdivision, but
I think it's a subdivision, but I think that they didn't do anything to help it, it's illegal. I don't think that, and I could be wrong, but I don't think
it's a subdivision, but it's not illegal.
it's not illegal. They fought, it was,
Only if they're all related.
It's an exempt, you think it's an exempt subdivision?
if you follow the 1-2 sell-off rule.
1-2 sell-off.
1-2.
So this whole thing,
That's how it's always been done here. So I'm just saying, by the way that Jeff did it and Di did it and I was talking to it, all rules were followed the way it's told to be done.
But the 1-2 sell-off, the child lots that you was talking about, they were created after the May 1st of 2011. If you read your document, it says permitted for any tract of contiguous tract of land under the same ownership and existing as of May 1st, 2011. So these child ones that they're selling off, they wasn't in existence before May 1st, 2011. They can't split and sell off like the old ones can. The child ones ain't had more child divisions. Only the parent can split off twice, and then that's the end of your division. You can't say, well, I give it to my kid, now my kid gives it to his 2 kids. If it wasn't in existence before May 1st, 2011, they don't get a split again.
Divided in Washington County. I'm not saying that that's not wrong, but I'm just saying,
That's what's in your,
I know, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of child numbers out there that are still very big parcels that have been created after 2011. And we're saying that since it didn't look at, you can't divide them again.
50 years later,
well, without coming, they won't be exempt ones. As exempt, they have to come forward and be divided in the regular subdivision manner. They're just no longer exempt because they were created after the deadline.
So thanks, Max, and I think I have to reiterate that. No, I'm certainly not. I don't hear from anybody else saying that these should not be subdivisions. These should not be allowed. But they should not be exempt, and they should have to go through our process.
When do we tell them that? Like Danielle said, is it at the beginning or after people have already bought it? And that's why I'm saying, if that's what we're gonna do, that's fine. But the reporter sees it first. So do I need to go tell them, hey, when you see a survey come through with more than one track on it, ask them if that's gonna be a subdivision, if they're gonna make money on it. If it is, send the tribal settlements office first.
Travis needs to be the one that makes the call, not them assuming that, yeah.
But is that once it's reported? Or once someone already buys in it? This is why I always get so frustrated. And it's not against you guys, it's just the courthouse in general, and it happens everywhere. I've already bought it from Danielle. I bought it last Thursday, money is in your bank account. Next Wednesday, it gets mailed to me at work. Is Danielle gonna give me my money back because what she did wasn't right?
Yeah, but the surveyor's office will be the first one to catch it if anything is replatted and split and surveyed, right?
After it's already been sold. After, say I bought it, this is just hypothetical, I've never bought property from Daniel. but she's gonna sell some, even if it's not a split. It's already money, I've already wrote the check, I've got my mortgage, it goes to Danielle. And either the week of, or the week after, or 2 weeks, whatever that title company has to bring it in, or I walk it over myself, I've already spent my money. Now, whose responsibility? I'll catch it, that's fine. But whose responsibility is it? Because now, I've already bought it. Whose responsibility is it to do that? Or if it's a contract?
That'd be a good question for the Indiana States Surveyors Association.
Or for John Mead, our attorney.
That they can pick it up.
I'm just saying.
You could call the state and ask them.
I'll call them and I'll see what they tell me, but I guarantee you that they're gonna say it happens everywhere. I mean, when this thing was first created about the subdivision splits, did you guys have to see stuff that every title company in town let them know?
Try to.
So we should probably do that. Because the title company is gonna hit it before money is transferred, before it hits the courthouse. And then we can be the backup. But somebody needs to know before the money's already, if we're worried about the people living there and their concerns, shouldn't we worry about it before they've already gave money? That's where I'm coming from. Whenever they're standing in front of me and I say, you can't do that, it's too late. And I don't mind being the bad person, but it's, if you come to me or your kids come to me, are you going to be mad that I sent them out? Or can send you out because it doesn't work? We can do it, that's fine, that's our job. But then where do they go? What process do they go to? I just think that it should be known outside of me and outside of the courthouse. That this is the way it needs to be. Because it's always been done this way. It's another one of those Washington kind of things. We've always done it this way. I'm not saying that means it's right. It's just always it's been done this way. Everyone knows it's done this way. Everyone knows how to get around it. We called Travis. I don't know how many times just in this year we called you because we thought we had a third split that it's a subdivision. We try to, it's not like we want to catch them, but like, we don't want it to be done wrong. We call you at least 3 times this year, I think we called. And
Yeah, at least.
I mean, we try to catch them. I just think that it should happen before any of this. Should it be the first sell-off? You can't sell your property, you can't split your property at all without it being a subdivision?
But again, it becomes in what amount of time? I mean, how far historically do we go back to decide that this has been split multiple times? Every property in the county has been split multiple times. I've got 120 acres that is part of what was once a larger property, and it was family that divided that off.
Well, even like, just this property in general, I researched it back to whenever it was first got, just to see if this might have been the way we've always done it. We made a mistake in my office because we make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, no one's perfect. It was it's no one's business, but it was spouses deeding to themselves. That's an NA. That's how they got the first piece of property. Then, I'm assuming they got divorced, but I don't know that in real life, but he deeded to her that piece of property, so she got the whole, it wasn't a split, she got that number, plus a split from what was there. That counts as a number 1, because you're not related, but it doesn't count as a number 1, because technically, the order that it got done in, she was a neighbor. So there's another one that doesn't count. You see where I'm going with that? There's already 2.
The intention of what our ordinances say and the way they're used.
So when it started, it was family. And I assume that it had to be done this way for reasons that are unbeknownst to me, that more property was acquired. But that's 2. That doesn't count. And then she had it surveyed into 5. And I saw surveys come in that looked just like that, and it's because a grandpa or a great-grandpa wants to be sure that in his mind, his kids are all took care of, and there's going to be no arguing when they pass away. And there might be 5 kids, but 4 of them don't want anything to do with farm ground, and they don't want any of that property So only one of them gets it in the end anyway. So that happens. People survey it and put tracks on them all the time, but they never do anything with them. Or for years they don't do anything with them. And just because he's wanted that doesn't mean he had it written down that that's the way it's going to happen. We don't know your intention behind the survey.
Well, I'll tell you what I believe. I believe the lady that owns this property is doing it. She's selling off parcels for gain. And I would consider her a developer.
And that's okay, but in my office, I don't get to make that call.
If she's a developer and she builds a new road, that makes it a subdivision. It says so right in our ordinance.
But when it comes to offices, we can only do what we've been told. Dana and Denise did exactly what I instructed them to do. And I'll take the blame if it's wrong. I instructed them, this is what happens.
Well, there's no way you
One,
could
two,
have caught it.
it's done. But that's how I was instructed when I got hired.
All right, so the question is, what are we going to do about this?
I think it's always going to be a problem. I don't know if there's a way to get around it myself. And that's just me being serious because I work in it every day. I don't know. And you guys might go home and think about it, come up with an answer, and I'm more than willing to hear it. But it's just,
I mean, had someone not drove by and saw it, you wouldn't have known it. And you can't, I'm talking about Travis, because
you wouldn't know.
yeah, it's a big county, you can't see everything. You can't drive around and police things because
Yeah, if all that popped up in one day, I mean, what, you know, or in a week. I mean, I don't
it
drive.
probably took a week, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't drive every road every week.
Unless a neighbor called and was like, hey, I think a road's being put in. You need to go look at this. I mean, but they might not have, I mean, just because you're putting that in, they might have thought by looking at it, oh, she's getting, I don't know, 8 acres to one person. You don't know it's going to be 3 pieces. Just looking.
To see the 3 real estate signs.
Yes.
Okay.
So can we go back to what Max brought up about the November 11th? Because I hadn't thought that, or November 2011, sorry.
And that's probably true, but I was never taught that either, so.
Yeah,
There's a new thing that I was brought to my knowledge just today by Max.
I kind of just kept reading and then got to that point and I was like, yeah, that's a long time ago kind of thing. I didn't think about it like that. So is that what Max said, how he interprets that? Is that the way we think it?
I can say, the way I was taught, and it could be wrong, is when I became a new property owner, then it starts over. Like that is a child number, it was a sell-off, but I'm a new property owner, so I get to restart it. So then it just, the cycle begins again. That's how I was taught. I don't know.
But it wasn't in existence on the deed prior to 2000, because your name's a new name on the deed. It wasn't in existence on the books prior to 2011.
Yeah, that's what I questioned. Why would that have been put, why would a date been put in if it didn't mean something?
Because that's the way that.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. And I was never told that in my office. They even tell like Denise and Dana, well, clearly it's 2023, we can't do that, it's not 2011. But the way that the whole courthouse function is, it's new property owners, that's where you get.
Well, I guess that may first.
You follow the new. You like follow the new stuff as you're new.
Yeah. That only applies to letter C, right? Not letter B. So.
I don't know. I don't know if that's what you just said is true or not.
I think I haven't read the whole thing, but it's only, that date's only listed under C. It's not listed under like A and B, and it's not listed as like, would include all of them, but I don't know that to be true.
I'm I don't know.
This is what I'm
I've got numbers.
Okay, so, see. There. I wrote down the single thing that's happening.
I don't know that it wouldn't be a bad idea to have the opinion of John Mead or somebody weigh in on Emily's, on your processes.
We don't have to say that way, that's just, it's never been brought up to change it, so that's the way it is.
You know, we've talked to John numerous times about this section. It's never, I mean, I don't speak for him, but I don't think that's the intent of what we have for the exemptions, because it's never been that brought up that May 1st, 2011. So, but something new, I don't,
All these exemptions do is throw it back on,
It just leaves a gray area, and
apparently it's intentional. Kick the can down the road.
Here's another thing that you guys might want to think about. Look at the same letters, but go to like 6 and 7, right after what Max is reading. The county auditor shall not accept an exempt subdivision for transfer unless it has been stamped and approved by the planning director and staff. Our auditor doesn't do maps. That's us. They used to have the paper maps. They don't have them anymore. We've had them for I don't even know how long, way before 2011. I don't think that they should have, that doesn't make sense in the courthouse. Because the recorder sees it first and then we divide it out, so.
It never goes into the auditor's office,
It doesn't like,
or, well, it's not first.
yeah. I would already stamped it approved by the time it's, or I would already, even deeds, they get them, like, I get them and the assessor's office gets them in the auditor's office. I don't really know why they would need to know that. Like, look, they used to, I think maybe then, I don't know, but they did draw the maps before like this came about. It was all on paper and they were in control of those paper maps, but they're not anymore. So that would have made sense at that time because they were doing the mapping, but they don't do the mapping anymore. That's another thing, like this probably is a question for John, but like why would it be the auditor?
Because they have all the records for the county.
The auditor? Or the reporter?
They have too.
But, like, even if they would stamp off on, like, the auditor's office, I don't know, do they stamp off on subdivisions that are approved?
Yeah, because it goes for the commissioners.
And the auditor stamps it? So
Yeah.
maybe that's what it means.
Well, yeah, I think that's what it means. Because when you guys approve the subdivision, then it goes to the commissioners, and when we approve it, the auditor, being the secretary for the commissioners, has to stamp.
So that's saying that even if it was an exempt one, like if that was exempt, it should still be stamped by Karen, and then the auditor would still have to sign on it, is what that's saying. So remember what
So-
the survey needs to be.
Then if that one's exempt, they still have to go through the hoops, do they not?
Never have before.
Huh?
They never have before. I'm not saying that's right, I'm just saying that's how it functions. Not throw anybody under the bus.
Because Travis is the one that says it's exempt,
Yeah.
right?
That's what kills me is I don't know how do I know as a property owner that I need to go to Travis to get that exemption? Like, I just feel like, hey,
Yeah, they're not.
You know, I don't know that, if I'm,
That's kind of what I said, I think it should happen before. I don't know how to get that information out there. I don't even know if that's an answer, but,
I don't know, it's possible.
yeah.
And that's kind of where I come from on this is, as, you know, as a CSGP guy, if I didn't want to drive by this, what we're talking about, and see those signs, that's a larger common plan of development. That was in violation of the CSGP. And what they're going to do is they're going to knock on homeowner stores and want to know why, who the developer is, and why there's not a plan with the state on that. And they don't, and IDEM doesn't care if this plan commission calls it a subdivision or not.
Yeah.
It's a larger common plan of development over an acre. And those homeowners don't have the opportunity, I mean, because the developer never had to go through any of these checklist items. I mean, somebody got ahead and made these lots 2-acre lots, but if they were half-acre lots, people are still selling them and doing what they want to do on them because they never came before us. And I don't understand how we can go through that loophole. But
The reason they got through the loophole is because there was an existing driveway, so they weren't required to get a 911 address, and they weren't required to get with the highway superintendent about access off the road, because the main road was already there. Been there for eons. That's how they get a book. That's how it slipped through the cracks right there.
It could have been a simple call over to my office, not presenting this as a subdivision, and said, hey, I just bought this piece of property, I'm thinking about, maybe, or they said, how many times can I divide it? Well, is it part of a subdivision? Was it, whatever. No, it's not, it's just a piece of property, how many times can I divide it? Twice, okay, good enough.
And
Click.
they did it twice, and the new person did it twice.
And then
It's
there
not
you
plan
go.
on doing it twice.
Or I'm gonna make 2 divisions, one's gonna be to whoever, and one's gonna be to my brother. Well, that's 1 division, not 2. You don't even get close to the subdivision requirements.
I think that also it makes a difference because when you work in it every day, the verbiage is different, but a survey is different than a plat.
So tell me what the difference is.
Like a survey, you want your property surveyed?
Yes, we just had the surveyor come to our place.
Okay, that's a survey, boundary survey, however you want to word it, is a survey. Woodhurst Farms isn't a survey, it's a plat, because they divided it into however many lots and rules of whatever, covenants, everyone calls it, all the stuff.
they
that's
were the
on it.
checklist. It got approved by this.
So whenever it gets recorded, it gets recorded as a plat, whereas these get recorded as surveys.
Okay. So I got this survey. I want to sell.
Okay, so you just had your property surveyed.
Yes, and we put all the tracks together, back together into one. So now it's all one big chunk of
And
land.
has it got recorded yet? I don't know. Okay, it's got recorded. So it's all your parcels back into one?
One.
Okay. But say you had that survey done, it was already one, but you wanted to make it into all those tracks. Is that a subdivision?
No, because it's not for the it was not for the purpose of offer, sale, lease, or development
At the time?
at the time. So is it when the first
At the
sale?
time?
Is it at the time of the first sale?
I don't know.
Is that the time when it becomes a true subdivision?
So when you had the survey done, your intent was not to make money, but you could have, you didn't, but you could have made it have more than one track. But your intent was not to make money. But maybe 25 years later, your intent changed. So is that at the time that it becomes a subdivision, or is it at the time that your survey was done? And I guess that's a question for Johnny.
Other than with the intent of dividing a piece of property, what would be the reason why somebody would have it?
They're going to the bank and they own 100 acres and they need a mortgage. They want to refinance and they don't want to lose all 100. They only want to lose 10. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why people do things, but
But at
that happens. People do that sometimes.
that point, you're dividing the property. Because if at that point I defaulted on my loan, the bank is going to take that divided 10 acres.
I don't know, I think it should be easier than someone's intention or it should drop 5 pieces of property, subdivision. As soon as it comes in, it's a subdivision.
What if they don't want to call anybody? They just get on our website, look everything up. And then all of a sudden, just like Emily was saying, they never even called me. I mean, well, we're not breaking no rules. We followed the ordinance, and all of a sudden it's in front of her or in front of the reporters. It's too late.
Except they never had, you never stamped approved, like the sections, I know this is some of the county auditor, but, or in section on 5, the plan director shall stamp the exempt subdivision approved.
There was a violation there for sure. Because you didn't approve it one way or the other. It didn't matter what we call it or what you call it. You didn't stamp it exempt, you didn't call it exempt. It says so right in the rules that they're supposed to come to you.
I don't know, but I mean, I'm just reading, like, all exempt subdivisions shall be submitted to the plan director or staff for review. If the plan director or staff determines that the proposed subdivision meets the standards to be exempt from the subdivision plat process, he or she shall stamp the exempt subdivision as approved. So you can't just avoid your office. Even this one particularly, they need to bring that survey to you, and you, the way this reads, shall deem it exempt or not, and the stamp it approved if you deem it exempt. The way I read that.
What if they didn't do it as like when we first said, what if they didn't do it as a complete survey and they just sold off one parcel? I'm not arguing.
No,
I'm just telling you what the problem is.
I just think that and we've talked about this for an hour now, and I don't know that we've gotten a long way, but I think I would make the suggestion that at the very minimum, your office contact this developer, and at the very minimum, you get some plans in front of you that you would stamp exempt if you deem they be exempt from this, is the way our ordinance reads. Because and like I said, at the very minimum, they can't just bypass your office.
Okay. Well, okay. How are we going to, okay, fine. How are we going to stop this from happening again then?
That's what we need to think about, because I don't think anybody knows.
Right. So if I wanted to do an actual subdivision, like I want to plat it out, I want to make Woodhurst, but I'm going to put it out south.
I see where you at.
Yeah. What would be my first step? How do I know that?
You go to the county website.
Okay.
And look
Normally, you would
at the
say-
checklist.
when you would call your surveyor, I guess, you would tell them you want to make a subdivision, you own this property and you want to make a subdivision, and then they would say, your county have the ordinances and zoning, and then that would kickstart it, I assume. I don't know if to be true, I just assume, because like, you don't just know that. Somebody would have to tell you that.
Well, every surveyor will know that.
Yeah, but I mean, every county has different rules, so I assume that would probably be an initial point, I'd say.
But any way that it goes, in order, I mean, because I hear what you're saying with finding out what the intention is. But I have the intention of doing one thing now and then that change sometime later. But if I've already gotten it on the map, that this piece of property is divided off from this larger piece of property, that point is where, to me, it needs to red flag. Not when it's sold, not when it's transferred, but when we have divided this piece of property
One time.
figure out the way to catch that, right? That might be a chore. Well, not to take anything away from people who want to deed off property to their family members, you know, I respect that, but I think Deidre brought up some good things a few minutes ago. You know, what's the intent of the land usage? And we need to think about concentration of residences, and because of public safety, access. And my big thing is this person dividing this property in parcels for the development for financial gain? Is this person a developer or an individual that just wants to deed off a couple pieces of property? My opinion still is, even though you may stamp it exempt, that this person over here on Old 56 is a developer. But our rules say, well, they don't say plainly. So you can't fault them for that. But we need to be aware this won't be the only one that comes up, I'm sure. There's probably some out there that been like that for years and nobody just thought anything about it. But, you know, when you've got more than 2 lots for sale with 2 different realtors of property that you own and you put a new road in, you're a developer. You're developing the property for gain, for profit, period, plain and simple. So, something to think about. Now, moving along, thinking ahead ourselves, does anybody know about where we are as far as wrapping all this up? So someday you can present it to the 3 commissioners and we can vote on it, and I think we pretty well got through everything except these zone maps, right?
Yeah, I guess that's not even started.
So do we need those zone maps? Just because we think this area is commercial, do we need to officially make it a commercial zone? These little pockets that we have here and there, I always use Morgan's Market area as a good example, and it's actually growing because we've got a new dollar store out there now. So you've got about 7 or 8 actual businesses out there now. You got a child daycare, you got a diesel truck place, you got Cottingham Enterprises, you got Morgan's Market, you got the dollar store, and you got the used lumber yard, then you've got diesel repair. Yeah. And then the other, and then the legitimate actual sawmill. So
I would think you would have to zone it. I mean, I just think so. I mean, if you have all these rules for all these zones, and then you have to know what the zone is, so you have to follow through.
Yeah.
But I don't know that to be.
I don't think it would be that difficult to define a zone. I mean, if you've got businesses in a...
It's by, I have talked to the mapping company about how other counties do it, and it is by property line. You don't like just like make a square. It's not like this square. It'll be like odd shaped with the property lines.
Oh, okay.
I know that much.
Okay.
But I know that like, it could be like a really odd shape. It could, you know,
Yeah,
come back,
kinda like
backwards. So
any
you
city
don't have to do it like,
city limits.
yeah, it doesn't have to like blocked off. It's just by property lines is what I was told, so. But whenever you go in and split them, those property lines might alter. And then those might need to be rezoned later. Just throwing that out there. But that's something that, when that comes about, we need to remember that.
Okay, well, I'd like for you people to think about what would be the easiest way to tackle that, and I suppose would be to start with the assessor's office and get a list and cross-reference it with an area as far as what's taxed commercial. To me, that would be about the easiest way to decide what little, like around Pekin, around Campbellsburg, New York. So, you being the key contact person, and I know you're gonna be out for a while later.
Oh yeah, by the way, just a heads up, I could be at next month's meeting or I could not. Just depends on how my neurosurgeon appointment goes on the 27th, so I could be out for a while in the near future. Just, y'all try to hold me, I don't need to just know that it's not, because I don't like you, I just have something going on, so.
Next meeting is what day?
Well, that would be July. Third? Yep. July 3rd.
I will not be present.
Do we want to bump it to the 10th?
Probably not be back by then.
I don't think so.
Well, when will you be back?
Never.
August? Okay.
6 to 8 weeks. It was a lot. It depends on how quickly I want to drive back from Sundance.
What about you, Danielle? 3rd or the 10th? Is that is the 3rd of July?
The 3rd is better for me than the 10th.
Okay,
Thanks.
okay.
I'll call you tomorrow.
All right. We'll just keep it the same schedule then for now.
Where are we at with the Harrison County subdivision ordinances that we've reviewed?
Oh, you were here. We passed that, voted on it and passed. And I think John's in the process of kind of tweaking it, but we adopted Harrison County 5.0 regarding the performance model.
That's all we needed to do.
With that.
That's all we were adding was the bond.
Yeah, because
Well, the other stuff that we added, but that was the last thing that we did.
we already had,
I'll send it.
and he was going to double check and look through that so it wasn't redundant or anything, but for instance, in this subdivision, this current subdivision ordinance, it already had provisions for instance, like your drainage issues and all those dirty details that need to be in there. So yeah, we approved that. In regards to the performance bond part of it. Okay.
Need a motion to adjourn?
Yes, we do.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second? You taking the name one?
Oh, did.
Are you taking notes?
Yes.
Good.
All in favor of adjourning our meeting?
Say aye.